Welcome to the Specialty Nursing Info Session. This session is being presented by Kathy Kennedy, Jan Morrison, Tony Chacon, Jean Dehan, Tara Hodgson, Matt Thacker, Carly Aliadis, and Carrie Meager. I hope I pronounced that right. And before we get started, I would like to say that the British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam. I would like to now introduce Kathy Kennedy.
Thank you, Julie. You can move to the next slide. Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to participate in our info session. These tend to be move quite quickly. We have several programs to go through, and hopefully we're able to answer your questions at the end. And so I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm the Associate Dean for Specialty Nursing here at BCIT. We are the only institute in Canada that has all of the specialty programs in one institute. So we are very proud of our programs. They're very popular and really try to meet that high standard of education across the country. So we do deliver our programs right across Canada, multiple provinces. So as per the poll question, you can see that we've got critical care, emergency, high acuity, neonatal, nephrology, pediatrics, pediatric critical care, pediatric emerge, perinatal, and perioperative. And we do have some subspecialties available, and we're going to be speaking about those as well today. Next slide. So BCIT offers specialty education for diploma RNs, diploma RNs, BSN learners. We also have alternate pathways in some of our programs that we're going to speak about today for LPNs. So in particular in nephrology and peri-op, we do have pathways for licensed practical nurses. And we also, our program has a wonderful partnership with the University of Victoria. So once you achieve your advanced certificate in specialty nursing education, it does give you potential credit towards your master's program at the University of Victoria. So that has been a pathway that's very popular, and they do see a number of our specialty nurses in their master's program. Thanks, Julie. Next slide. We do offer our program in a number of different ways. We do part-time delivery, where you can take it course by course, by distance, and that is a popular one throughout the province and elsewhere in the country. We also offer what we refer to as a compressed full-time delivery or compressed time frame. And that is where you are participating in the program, attending as a full-time student. And so you're taking theory courses, you're attending clinicals, and moving through the content in a much quicker pace. These learners tend to be sponsored by your health authority, and we're happy to answer some questions about that at the end. Next slide. Our clinical practicums do take place at a hospital that we would arrange in your area. We have multiple sites, and in some of the programs it is done in a preceptorship model, and in other programs it's done in an instructor-led, and in some programs it's a hybrid of both. And students that are participating in clinical would be responsible for their own transportation to and from clinical and their accommodation while they're in that placement. Thanks, Julie. Perfect. Who is specialty nursing for? So we have the majority of our learners are active registered nurses in Canada who are currently working and are looking to move into those specialty areas. And so if you're an RN with a diploma or an RN in a with a BSN, or also as mentioned, we do have the peri-op and then the nephrology programs for licensed practical nurses. Then and you're looking for something different and to gain more education and experience in a specialty area, come to BCIT and take one of our specialty programs and help move you through that content and prepare you to work in those areas. I think I spoke about the other parts. Thank you. So how to start learning, please refer to our website. And, we do really love you to have some experience in acute care, but in this day and age, it's not always necessary. We do take a lot of brand new graduates out of the BSN RN programs straight into our specialty. And we're happy to answer some questions about that as we move through. Great. Next slide. So I'm going to turn you over to Jan Morrison. She's the program head for our post-diploma BSN program. So over to you, Jan.
Well, thanks, Kathy. Can we have our slide, please, Julie? Yeah, so who is this program for? Well, as Kathy mentioned, diploma prepared RNs who want to advance their careers by taking a Bachelor of Science in Nursing with a specialty certificate. So I think this graph really illustrates the process quite nicely. So a diploma RN would take one of our advanced specialty nursing certificates, and then 33 credits of the academic, liberal ed, and elective courses, and achieve a Bachelor of Science in Nursing with a specialty certificate. So next slide, please. I think right now there are quite a lot of RN or diploma prepared RNs out there who have a tremendous amount of experience, but because they don't have a BSN, their career advancement opportunities are limited. And so this degree will give you that professional development so you can apply for teaching, leadership, community health positions, and move on to perhaps your master's degree. So the application process you can find on our website. Admissions will be looking for you to upload a copy of your transcript, proof of your RN license, and a detailed resume. And then hopefully they tend to turn those applications around quite quickly, and you should hear within a very short time. So thanks, Julie. Here's our contact information. If you have any questions at all, I'm more than happy to answer them. And you can find further information on the website. So now I'd like to introduce Tony Chacon, who is the program head for nephrology. Take it away, Tony.
Thank you, Jan. Hi, everybody. Could you move to the next slide, Julie? Thank you. So who is our program for? Our program is currently for practicing RNs who want to take the advanced nephro cert or to complete their specialty Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Nephrology nurses who would like to seek professional development, advancement, and continuing education. We also accept ESNs and undergraduate students that are currently completing an accredited program. And we also have a pathway for LPNs who are wanting to successfully complete the nephrology nursing CTF, which is sponsored by the health authorities. Next slide. Program overview. So nephrology nurses work closely with patients who require ongoing care and life-sustaining treatment. Usually that is in the form of hemodialysis, PD, which is home dialysis or home hemodialysis, renal transplantation, and some other methods. They also help to manage CKD or chronic kidney disease and end-stage renal disease. So their work really directly impacts the quality of life and end-of-life care for renal patients. Next slide. The length of the program varies. So we do have two formats. We have the independent study format, which is the 12-week, and basically it's self-paced guided learning modules with online tutor support and telephone as well. So you can still work full-time. Usually students register for one theory course or a clinical course per term, and this can vary on your commitments. Some people work part-time or are not currently working. And you're able to continue to usually do everything in your own community. And if you live in the province, we can usually get the clinical placements in probably close to your community. We also have the other option, which is the 14-week health authority sponsored timeframe program. And that is 7 weeks of part-time online theory followed by 7 weeks of full-time sponsored clinical. Next slide. Okay, and this is the last slide for me. This is my contact information. So if you have any other questions about our program, please feel free to contact me. I'll be pleased to answer any of your questions. And with that being said, I would like to introduce Jean Dehan, who is the program head for High Acuity.
Thank you, Tony. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to speak about the high acuity specialty nursing program. And the learners that typically take our program are BSN students from all over the province, usually taking our first foundational high acuity nursing theory course. And then the other nurses that come are diploma trained nurses and or nurses who have already completed with their BSN and want to achieve a specialty nursing certificate. Next slide, please. So the biggest question maybe I should answer with this slide is, what is high acuity nursing practice? You know, in different areas that I've spoken about or areas that I've talked to, it's not really well known. And so I think the easiest way to define high acuity nursing practice is that we live between general med surg and intensive care. So our patients typically experience a more acute, complex, acute illness requiring specialized nursing care that may not require what you need to do for them in intensive care. Next slide, please. And so in terms of our program, we are the only high acuity program in Canada currently that trains nurses to work in these specialized areas. We do provide our whole program part-time online, and on average it takes about 2 years to complete. The online course is really popular for those who want the flexibility of being able to take the courses when it fits their lifestyle. There's also the option to be able to take all the courses in succession from beginning to end. A lot of our BSN nurses who take the first course, or pardon, students who take the first course who are in their BSN program, typically come in after they've been hired onto their unit and want to advance into a high acuity specialty unit. Next slide, please. And maybe a video will speak more to what our program is about. Please watch this video from one of our students.
Can you see the video screen right now? Great.
I can't hear it, sorry.
Student and a Fraser Health registered nurse. To anyone who is watching right now, I am so grateful that BCIT had given me a platform to speak about my passion for high acuity nursing practice. Why did I choose the high acuity specialty nursing program at BCIT? Ever since I graduated, I had always been interested in advancing my knowledge and education to broaden my scope of practice as a registered nurse. That is why I chose to apply to the high acuity specialty nursing program at BCIT. Because as a new graduate, you will be faced with many challenges in the workplace that requires higher level thinking, nursing intervention, and escalation of care. What do I love most about the program and my career? What I love most about the high acuity program is the interactive virtual classroom discussions, laboratory simulation of real life case scenarios, and their supportive and understanding educators. BCIT provides one with the tools one needs to care for patients who are acutely sick with unpredictable outcomes. And the faculty does a phenomenal job of integrating theory into practice. I can really say that BCIT faculty theoretically and practically prepares you with the knowledge that you need to care for these acutely ill patients. Where do I see myself professionally in 5 years? In 5 years, I definitely see myself working in an intensive care unit. BCIT's high acuity nursing program does a good job of sparking one's interest in critical care training and preparing its students for the next step ahead. Thank you, everyone, and good luck on your journey.
Thank you. And here is the contact information for both me and for our program assistant if you have any further questions about our program. And now I would like to take this time to introduce Tara Hodgson. She's the program head for the pediatric nursing specialty.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Tara. I'm the program head for pediatric specialty nursing and pediatric critical care nursing. So you're going to see both sets of my slides. So who is this for? This is for RNs. You already have to be an RN to be in our, or you can be a BSN student and take the first 2 theory courses. So you, first of all, obviously need to like working with kids. Pediatrics ranges from newborns to 18 years old. So you can always find something you like. My favorites are 4-year-olds and teenagers. Not my own teenagers, but other people's teenagers are pretty great. So, you know, you can find your jam somewhere in that. It's basic, pediatrics is basically med surg, but with smaller people and less drama than grown-ups. So you have to be a critical thinker, you have to have strong interpersonal skills, you have to be creative. It's really important because, you know, sometimes a 2-year-old doesn't want you to do things to them. So you have to kind of come up with different ways. They said, but half of being a pediatric nurse is being a detective and figuring out what your nonverbal, you know, patients are going to be able to tell you and not be able to tell you. And sometimes it's a bit of guessing and detective work. So, and then you have to really be willing to change your communication based on that person's developmental level. So, you know, how you talk to a teenager and how you talk to a 2-year-old are completely different. And you might have both of those patients on the same shift. So, you know, you have to be willing to think outside the box a little bit. And our specialty program you can come into even if you don't have PEDS experience. Next slide, please. So the overview is similar to the other ones. I think you can kind of read it yourself, but the pediatric special needs program focuses primarily on acute care setting. There is one other pediatric program now in Canada. It's at Mohawk in Ontario, but they really focus on community-based nursing, and we're the only program that really focuses on acute care nursing in Canada. So the courses, we have 4 theory courses, 2 clinical courses, and then we have 7 elective credits, and you can take elective credits in any number of things. For example, we have contraceptive management course and sexually transmitted infection course, which is part of our perinatal program, but those apply if you're working with adolescents. We have breastfeeding courses that could be an elective, and we also have electives within our own program. So we have lots of options. And it's also, if you've done things in your career already that are involved with pediatrics, NRP or PALS, you can get credit for those as electives as well. So most of the time it's part-time like everybody else. It takes about 2.5 years to complete, but again, we have up to 7 years. And we do the distance and online learning. So it's, and then you could do a CTF in the basic PEDS, although most health authorities don't sponsor in that area. So it would be mostly distance that you would do it. And of course, the clinicals, we will, everybody wants to go to Children's Hospital, but I'm here to tell you there are other excellent pediatric hospitals in BC. So we can arrange your clinical placements at those hospitals as well. And so this is my contact information and my program assistant. This information is also on our website. So if you are like scrambling, like, how can I write this down? Don't worry about it. Just go to our website and it's on there.
Sarah, I'd just like to add that everybody will receive a recording and a PDF of the slide deck. So yes, please don't try and write all this down. You'll get it in your email.
And then, so now, pediatric critical care. So if you are interested in looking after kids that are more acutely ill, then the ICU is the place for you. We do not take people who have no experience in this program. You must have at least a year more experience. And that's just based on the fact that you need to really consolidate your basic PEDS before you move into the next level, because it's quite complex. Again, individuals who enjoy working directly with children and their families. It is a little different in that a lot of these patients will be sedated, so you're not doing so much fun things with kids, but you still need to be able to have good communication, and you really have to be good communication with their families, because their families are very scared and worried about their babies, and you need to be able to talk to them. So if you're not a great communicator, you don't really like dealing with other family members, you know, sometimes with adult care, you can get away with that, but in PEDS, you can't. There's always a loved one, a parent, a caregiver beside their bed. Go to the next slide. So this is, you know, pediatric critical care. It's really about caring for people in the highly specialized area of pediatric ICU. There are pediatric ICUs in every province across Canada. BCIT has one major one, which is at Children's Hospital, and then the other one is in Victoria. they have really unique healthcare needs. And the nice thing about our program is that it's written by critical care nurses, and it's being taught at BC Children's Hospital. That's the entry to practice at their hospital now. So if you want to work at Children's Hospital in the ICU, you have to take our courses, and we've worked in partnership with them to develop those courses. So these courses really speak to, they're very current and what's relevant in the workplace area. And right now we do all of our labs at Children's Hospital, so you work with that same equipment that you'd be using on your day-to-day basis in that unit. Excellent. Let's see, anything new and exciting and different here that I said in the other slide? Yeah, still part-time, takes about 2.5 years. We do have a distance option, and then this also has the CTF option. And for example, Children's Hospital, it's the entry to practice, and they will sponsor you to take these courses if they decide to hire you into that position. And then, but otherwise, you can still do a distance yourself if you're not sure if you're going to like it or not. You want to try it out. That's a good way to do it. And yeah, and you definitely have to have experience before you come in. And now we'll have our little video testimonials.
My name is Roxanne Jacobs, and I'm a registered nurse. I've been in the profession since 2013 and began my career in hematology oncology before transferring to the PICU and enrolling in the BCIT program. I chose this program to expand my nursing knowledge and gain new experiences at the bedside. I enjoy this program as it allows me to learn the theory while also practicing at the bedside simultaneously. The instructors are always finding ways to learn and are encouraging along the way and want you to succeed. I hope to continue to work within the PICU and advance my nursing into specialized care such as ECLS. I also hope to transfer what I learned to those who join the BCIT program in the future.
All right, and I can see that somebody put a question in, does the PICU courses prepare you to work in the NICU? There is some overlap and some similarities, but because the patient population is quite different, it doesn't. And so when Carly comes on and she'll talk to you about the neonatal program, she can explain more of that. But yeah, normally, no, I wouldn't say that they would transfer over. All right, so again, that's mine. And so I'd like next is pediatric emergency, and Matt Thacker is the program head for that. So I'll let him talk about that.
I think we might have lost Matt. Carrie, do you want to?
He just messaged me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yeah, if you want to take over content, thank you.
His computer died. Okay, so hi everybody. I'm going to step in for Matt here. My name is Carrie Mahar, and I am the program head of the emergency nursing program as well as the pediatric emergency nursing program. So I'll speak on behalf of Matt for the pediatric program. So this program, again, very similar to what Tara said, is for individuals who has a passion for working with the pediatric population. So this program is if you are a current practicing registered nurse wanting to advance the pediatric emergency nursing, if you are a current practicing registered nurse and you're wanting to advance your knowledge and experience as a pediatric emerg nurse, this program is for you. Also, for those that are want to complete their specialty bachelor's of science in nursing in specialty nursing as well. Again, working with children and their families, it's a collaboration and a partnership caring for the family as a whole, and have a strong interpersonal and creative thinking skills, especially when communicating with young people. This specialty nursing program does not require relative work experience as well. So next slide there, Julie. This is a beautiful picture of some students, recent students in our program who had some experience and time in our specialty nursing lab here. So the program overview, just pediatric emergency nursing is really dedicated to the health and care of young people, ranging from very small babies, premature babies, all the way to our older population in the teenage world. Children as patients have unique healthcare needs that require specialized knowledge and expertise in their growth, illness, and injury. Next slide there for me. Okay. Really important as a pediatric emerg nurse to be strong and in your communication skills. Also great communicating with the younger population and building trusting and caring relationships with the patient as well as their families. The Emerge department can be at times quite intense and dynamic and fast-paced, and often a scary place for young patients as well as family members. So often you're going beyond just caring for the patient in front of you. You're also caring for the family and supporting the feelings of maybe of feeling overwhelmed or anxious, and being able to support the family through that experience as well. Next slide, Julie, thank you. So this program is really truly one of a kind in Canada. We educate nurses here in BC, across Canada as well as internationally, which is really, really exciting. Our program gives you the skills that employers seek to work in the pediatric emergency nursing world. So we do deliver it part-time, similar to the other programs that and the other program hands that have shared with you. It can be completed on average over 2.5 years. We offer it distance as well, and that online learning experience provides the flexibility to kind of learn at your own pace and learn in your own environment. And there is one pediatric experience that is completed in a pediatric practice area. So here in BC, you would be in a clinical experience either at one of our lower mainland hospitals. Surrey Emerge has a wonderful pediatric Emerge department there, with another part happening at Children's Hospital as well. So next slide is, oh great, yes, the student testimonial for one of the pediatric Emerge nurses.
So thanks, Kyle, for coming out today. I know it's super busy in today's world, but I appreciate you taking a couple minutes here to speak to the program. So if you'd like to maybe just say hi and introduce yourself.
Perfect. Hi, my name's Kyle, and I previously worked in the emergency department at Children's Hospital. And currently I am a coordinator with the Vancouver pediatric team and a clinic nurse with Insight.
Great, yeah. Well, thanks for coming, Kyle. Thanks for sharing all of your insight. So, you know, thinking back, you took our program a couple of years ago now. So just thinking back to that time when you joined, why did you decide to, you know, take the leap and join the program, and what did you envision for yourself?
Yeah, the emergency department is one of those places where you get to be the jack of all trades, master of none. And it's a controlled chaos, and it's a perfect mix for getting a lot of things accomplished, but it doesn't really give you that opportunity to take a deep dive and to really understand and hone certain skills. So what I was really looking forward to with the program was the opportunity to consolidate my knowledge and my practice, and to get into that simulation world and prepare for those one in a million cases that PEDS is known for.
Yeah, I'm so glad you spoke to that, because that's a huge advantage of taking the time in these programs, right? Is to the ability to be a student again, and to be vulnerable and to learn all these things that we may not, especially in emergency, you know, have the time to actually understand some of the things that we're seeing, because it's quite chaotic. So I appreciate you saying that. That's amazing. Yeah. So reflecting on your time at BCIT, what did you like about the program? What did you value in it? You know, reflecting on those 3 months.
Reflecting back on it, I really valued my time with the instructors. I felt coming into this experience, in some ways I felt like a nursing student all over again, but then working with my instructors and and the clinical instructors, it was as if we were peers and we were all learning together, which was a great environment to be in. The other piece that I really valued was the simulation, the amount of simulation practice, the equipment that was accessible to us. I felt that I could directly see from before I started the program to after my confidence in the critical care setting, and just being able to navigate what should be happening, how to advocate for clients, and just the communication level that should be there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. The team we have in our little program is quite amazing, and not only the experience that our instructors have, but also I think the networking as well. Pediatric emergency can sometimes be a little bit of its own little world. So that networking, learning from people so experienced and so knowledgeable, it definitely puts a perspective on everything. And I mean, branching off of that as well is that simulation staff that we have as well, and the experiences that the work that they put into, for us as faculty and for you guys as students is quite amazing, and that's great. Well, thanks, Kyle. So the last little bit I would love you to speak to is, again, reflecting back, before you were entering the program and as you were moving through it, is where did you envision yourself? Where did you envision yourself going with nursing, and where did you think it was going to take you?
Yeah. My big plan was either education or leadership. And one of the other pieces that allured me to the program was the frameworks and the processes that would help with teaching and supporting new staff and preceptors and in the emergency department. And yeah, just kind of looking at different master's programs for leadership and policy type things.
Great, yeah, and that's why I was really excited to have you come and speak, because now working in a pediatric public health lens, it just goes to show that the skills you learn, in a pediatric emergency program can be, extrapolated and threaded through any sort of either emergency or pediatric care that you kind of venture off into, and so that's amazing. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Kyle. Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming, and I appreciate you taking the time out, and we'll see you around.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm back on for, I guess, the most important part is to introduce Carly, but there's all my information there, you guys. Sorry about the technical difficulties. So my own personal contact info, Maya, program assistant, and you'll meet Carrie Meir a little bit later, and you can contact her as well for any information about the PEDS ED. But otherwise, I'll introduce you all to Carly Eliades, who's from Neonatal.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, like Matt said, my name is Carly Eliades. I'm the program head for the neonatal nursing specialty here at BCIT. So program overview, we can go to the next slide, Julie. This program is very similar to the other ones, is for practicing registered nurses wanting an advanced neonatal nursing certification or to complete their Bachelor of Science in Nursing with a neonatal certificate. We also do have undergrads in our program. They currently can take our first 2 theory courses during their BSN program. We do prefer 6 or more months of acute care experience, but as Kathy mentioned, that's just a preference, and we do accept new grads directly into our program as well. And then, of course, if you enjoy working with infants and their families in a high stress work environment, this program might be good for you. So we can go to the next slide, Julie. Thank you. So the neonatal program is designed for nurses who are interested in working in the neonatal intensive care unit. As a neonatal nurse, you will care for premature newborns or sick newborns from birth up until just discharge from the hospital. So that could be from a couple of days up to several months, depending on the circumstances. For the most part in the NICU, we look after premature babies, but we also do care for term newborns that have certain risk factors. People who generally enjoy working in this area obviously really like babies, but also enjoy working with and supporting families. In the NICU, family-centered care is really at the forefront of what we do. The NICU is a very fast-paced environment, but it's also very scheduled, and we work in a very methodic and organized way. So some of those type A type personalities tend to do well in the NICU with our scheduled ways. We look after infants, like I said, ranging from extremely premature infants who require mechanical ventilation, central venous access, multiple medications, right up to babies that we call feeders and growers that are basically just learning how to feed and need to grow a little bit before they can go home. A major focus of neonatal nursing is providing developmentally supportive care to infants. We've learned a lot over the years about how traumatic the environment in the NICU can be, both to infants and their families. So our main focus is really providing supportive care to ensure positive neurodevelopmental outcomes. Those little babies' brains grow so much during the time that they're in the NICU for, and the care that we provide as neonatal nurses really does impact both short and long-term developmental outcomes. Yeah, we can go to the next slide, Julie. Thank you. So the neonatal program at BCIT is comprised of 24 credits. There are 14 credits of core courses, which are a combination of theory courses and clinical courses. And then there's 10 elective credits. And you can choose elective credits from some of our neonatal options, or you can also choose from some of the other specialty nursing areas, such as perinatal, pediatrics, breastfeeding, palliative care. There's lots of options for electives. And there's also multiple paths to becoming a neonatal nurse. Like I said before, you could start with our first 2 theory courses during your BSN. You might do your final preceptorship in a NICU and go right into working full-time in the NICU, or you may finish your BSN, work for a little while in another area, and then decide to specialize. And as Kathy mentioned earlier, there are options for our learners to take our courses course by course, as well as those health authority sponsored compressed timeframe programs. Next slide is just our contact information. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions at all. I'd be happy to chat with you. And I'm going to pass it back to Carrie now, who's going to talk about the eMERGE program.
Hi, everybody. I'm back. So I'll introduce myself again. I'm Carrie Mahar, and I am the program head of the Emergency and Pediatric Emergency Nursing Program. I will be speaking for this portion just about the Emergency Nursing Program. Julie, if you could advance the slide, that would be great. So who is this program for? As you can see on the slide here, RNs looking for emergency certification or completing their specialty BSN in emergency. Also, this program is for undergraduate nursing students currently completing an accredited BSN program. In addition to these 2 points, I also like to share a recipe for success and some important ingredients or characteristics of an eMERGE nurse. So it's really important as an eMERGE nurse that you have strong, detailed assessment skills. So attention to detail is very important as an eMERGE nurse. Our patients don't walk through the doors with their diagnosis pasted to their forehead or on their chest. We have to become little detectives, and our assessment skills are very important. We have to learn to pick up on. We also have to have a curious mind to learn and grow every single shift. Illnesses that come through our doors on a daily basis, you're always learning something new. So being curious and always wanting to learn and grow is really important as an eMERGE nurse. Another important ingredient or characteristic is really making order out of chaos. As I alluded to earlier, the eMERGE environment is very fast-paced. It's very dynamic and chaotic at times. So being able to slow down, take a step back, take a deep breath, and determine your priorities and who is your sickest patient is really, really important. Being proactive is also an important characteristic. So planning ahead and being able to anticipate your patient's needs are really essential. The moment you start falling behind and become more reactionary in your approach, you're starting to get into trouble. So we're always thinking ahead and critically thinking and using our brains to determine what our patient's needs are, or what could potentially be their needs. Knowledge is also important. Strong pathophysiology foundation is really important. Our theory courses and clinical experiences are very patho-heavy. So having a really strong knowledge in patho knowledge is important to help build your knowledge through the theory courses and clinical experience. So if you're someone who really likes to work in a dynamic, fast-paced environment and have some of these characteristics, emergency nursing could be for you. Okay, Julie, thank you. Next slide. So our program here at BCIT has been around for more than 35 years. So over the years, we've really learned what nurses require to be successful and safe working in such a dynamic and fast-paced environment. So our approach is very learner-centered. We recognize all the nurses that are coming through our program have really a tremendous amount of knowledge and experience to draw from as they're learning. So our approach is very collaborative. We like to learn shoulder to shoulder with our students. And we really like to utilize different resources and tools to meet our students at where they're at in their learning. So our program is a blend of a comprehensive curriculum, so of both emergency nursing theory as well as clinical practice. And our core courses that students take through this program have the necessary pathophysiology, assessment framework, and nursing theory to allow the nurses to care for really a diverse range of patients coming through the doors and a wide spectrum of age as well. So I will speak just to one more thing just about the program delivery. So our program does consist of 6 courses, so 4 theory courses and 2 clinical experiences for a total of 24 credits. And we do run 2 different models that Kathy had spoken to already. So we deliver our program through distance learning, which is over 12 weeks and guided by the distance model with additional support from faculty in the Emerge program as well. This also helps you as you work full time and work through the course and being a student again. So it's a nice slower paced model for those that have quite a busy life. We also run the CTF model, or the compressed time frame, which has been Kathy spoke to as well, and the other program heads. This is offered in a full-time study format, and they allow you to take several courses at once over a shorter period of time versus 1 course at a time. You can skip to the next slide there for me, Julie. Thank you. This is my contact information. You're more than welcome to reach out to me anytime with any questions, as well as Maya, who is our program assistant. And I believe I am passing it back to you, Julie, for some question and answers.
Hi, everyone. I briefly looked at the chat, and it looks like we went through a lot of questions along the presentation. So if there's anything else remaining, just put it in the chat, and we'll spend a couple of minutes addressing any questions that people have.
There was one great question there for you, Tara, about do you need a specialty program specifically to work with pediatric patients, or does it just give you an advantage when you go to apply for jobs? And this is coming from a current BSN student.
Most hospitals don't require you to have it, but I know that Children's Hospital is now asking if you do have it, so it's not a prerequisite for the job. And I know I've heard from Fraser Health as well that it's a preferred if you have at least one of the theory courses, if not the first 2 theory courses. So yeah, it's not a requirement. You can certainly get a job in PEDS without it. And I'm not just saying this because, you know, I'm the program head for the program. I was a pediatric nurse for probably about 6 years before I took the BCIT courses. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I would have had these before. Because and even then, even though I'd been practicing for 6 years in pediatrics, it still was just like, I did not, like the stuff I didn't know was surprising to me. So, so not only am I an instructor and the program head for pediatrics, I was a student in the program, and it's pretty great. So yeah, so it's not 100% a requirement, but you will be, you versus somebody who doesn't have it is, you know, you're going to be at an advantage for sure.
Great answer. Carrie, I think this one's for you from Debbie. For emergency nursing program discussed by Carrie, does this address emergency care for children, or do you need to also take the pediatric emergency program to work in both?
That's a great question, Debbie. And the emergency nursing program has a lot of pediatric theory content thread throughout all of our theory courses and throughout the clinical experience. So we are lucky to be able to support knowledge development and growth in pediatric patients that may come through the doors in just the general emergency nursing program. So there's lots of virtual simulations that students get to experience if you're here in the Lower Mainland coming to our specialty nursing lab. And also the clinical experience will allow you to have that clinical application piece drawing from your theory that you've learned and to apply it into the clinical setting, caring for those pediatric patients.
We designed the pediatric emergency program for nurses that wanted to work precisely with that population, because there's so much to know about it. And so fortunately in the MERGE program, there's lots of great information, but if you are looking for that more specific, wanting to work in a pediatric emergency department, I think we would all advise about taking the pediatric emergency program. And I saw one more here from Naz. Sorry you missed, Tony Chacon is the program head for the nephrology program. So you may have missed his session, but correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, this recorded session will be sent out to everyone that's registered. So you'll be able to watch that section. Is that right, Julie?
That is correct. Everyone will receive the slide deck and the recording. So that's okay that you didn't make it. You're going to get all of the information. And Tony, if you just want to give yeah, there we go. Tony gave his email. So you can also contact the program head directly as well.
Fantastic. Question from Ashley. Are there any labs or exams that are required to be done in person, or can everything be done remotely or virtually? I'll maybe answer this briefly, and if anybody else wants to add on to what I'm saying. All of our courses can be delivered and are delivered by distance as well as in person. So we have different models of how we deliver. So if you were taking the course by distance, then everything would be done virtually or remotely for you. And then the clinicals would get organized in the region that you're living in Canada. So there's not an issue at all with you taking the courses by distance. I hope that answers your question, Ashley, and that's the same availability across all the programs. Is there a special?
Someone was asking a question about the perinatal program. Yes, there is a perinatal program, and the information is available on the website. They're just not here today because we didn't have all of our specialties here today.
Yeah, perfect. We did a previous session with them, our last info, but yes, please reach out and I can speak to the program head. It's a wonderful program. Are BSN students able to take the combined emergency and critical care program? Maybe I'll pass that to you, Carrie.
I was going to read that one. Great question. So you can begin taking some of the emergency nursing program during your BSN program or experience. And then once you complete your BSN and graduate, then you can start working towards the remainder of the eMERGE theory courses and clinical experience, and then work towards some of the critical care courses that you would have to take for the combined certificate.
Great. I think another one for you, Carrie. How long is the compressed timeframe program for the general emergency program?
I was just typing it out really quickly and I didn't get it done quick enough. So great question. So the compressed timeframe for the eMERGE program in full takes about 6 months. If you were to take it part-time course by course, it'd be a minimum of about 2.5 years.
Okay. And great question, Naz. Naz, any certificate for mental health? We don't have a certificate. We do have an elective course about mental health. It's the NSER 7800. And so it's a 3 credit course. And there's definitely mental health that is threaded through all the curriculums and the programs. But I agree, that would be a great certificate. Wonderful. I think that covers all of them, Julie.
Okay, so we do have social media accounts with the School of Health Sciences. These are all of the handles. Come check us out, join our community, find out more. If you wanted any of the links, they're on the right-hand side. And at this time, I would like to thank everyone that took the time to attend this session. We appreciate you learning about the programs and attending and asking such great questions. I'd like to thank Kathy, Carly, Carrie, Matt, Tony, Jean, Jan. I hope I didn't forget anyone.
Tara.
Tara that did it twice. For all those super informative presentations and the in-depth look into the programs that we offer. This was super valuable for all of us. And thank you. And everyone have a great rest of the day.